Greetings and God bless. Something I'm noticing about current events the past few years. So, about the diversity and inclusion stuff, about sex change operations for children, and what that implies for all bathrooms are now men's bathrooms. All women's sports are now men's sports, and the bigotry against this color, and that the bigotry against being human. And I wonder if it's some sort of attack on like Neanderthals and Homo sapiens by some other species. But that aside, um, it seems to me that so when anybody gets into any specialty, any realm of expertise, whether it's mechanics, whether it's biology, chemistry, biochemistry, or law or religion or whatever, there's always um, there's always a difference of opinion. And what I find very difficult and very stressful is that when these things apply to oneself, let's say there's no women's bathrooms, all women's sports, all women's gyms are now men's gyms, for instance, in that this color is demonized by people who actually have this color, and that these people, the left, think that all the face of the earth belongs to nature. So all humans are cancer on the planet except for them, and like this whole medical thing of it, altering your blood, not to mention having children start sex change procedures, as a toddler or something like that. All of these things affect individuals. These kind of things have affected me personally, and what it appears to me is that even though these things affect me, those who have more money or who have more social leverage don't think I should have an opinion if it's a different opinion. But when you're in the scientific community, or a mechanic or a chiropractor or whatever, you've got your area of expertise, it is understood that people have a different way of doing a back adjustment, or a different way of fixing the car, or a different way of thinking about capitalism or something like that. And I find it very disturbing, and I think it's a type of classism. It's a type of elitism where people are haughty, and they're like, "How dare you think different than me? How dare you think?" That's what I'm noticing from friends. That's what I've noticed when the lockdowns started, and even before. Um, and friends and family. And so the thing is, in the scientific community or in any area of expertise, when you're in a room of mechanics or in a room of hairdressers that have different opinions, and the thing is, from what I understand, is that unless there's a very clear, reliable guidebook, everybody is going to have a different opinion, uh, because like whatever has worked for them, unless this one protocol works. And that's why people probably set a broken leg the same way. That's probably why people sew up injuries on the skin in the same way. It's because there's only really one way that things work. You clean it from debris, you sanitize the surface, you make sure the wound is clean, and you sew it up with a good whatever. using a good protocol. And what I am offended, if I can say, is when people who are trying to crush not only my womanhood, my personal experience, my very existence on the planet, they're like, you don't deserve to have an opinion about you, your gender, your biology, your existential sense of self. Like, and that's what's going on. Like, and what I don't understand is how people are so complacent. Yes, I know you have to do your job and take care of your family, and and maybe that, I feel like that's like kind of that's really the thing, is like people are so spread so thin. They've left no room, no wiggle room for for like this kind of situation that we're in, this coup, and the just these multi-pronged attacks on everything. So people who otherwise have a good mind and leverage are just not responding. But if we look at other countries, people are like, I mean, you see all these videos from all over the world, of people getting together and you know declaring their feelings about whatever political thing that's going on in their country. So I mean, I think Americans, they have a huge inferiority complex. They think that they're not doing enough, but if they compare themselves to other cultures, where in those other cultures there's closer family dynamics, there's vastly superior emotional intelligence and well-being, while Americans have all this materiality. We have the latest phone or the latest car or the latest makeup, hairstyle, fashion, um, but we have nothing in our soul. We have nothing in our family relations. We have nothing in our interactions with other people. We have no connection to God. And so people keep chasing after some material thing, the latest material thing to get, when they are just a soulless automaton. And it's a cliche to hear somebody from America going to a very poor country where people are starving or whatever, but the people have closer relationships with other people. And I think I think it's like kind of a satanic thing that, I don't think people are like, yes, I'm killing babies or whatever, but they are so um, they're so keeping up with the Joneses. And Elizabeth Wharton, the author, made that term, coined that term, keeping up with the Joneses. And I bet she was Illuminati, deep state, whatever. But yeah, and can America ever change? I don't think so. I don't think, because it takes a lot of strength to resist this materialism that our identities are so focused upon. And it takes a lot of emotional maturity and courage to like have a real, like to communicate authentically. And 90% of the time in America, nobody wants to communicate authentically. Nobody wants to, nobody has the capacity to. And there's like this materiality in our interactions where people want to win, they want to have something over on you. So um that's my thought. But the thing is, like, if you're somebody who has a different opinion about your life or about just whatever, you have a right to your opinion. And enough with these people who who expect you and think they're entitled for you to not think, to not have an opinion, because that's a they're trying to do this mental fascism where, like, all these people are getting sued because they're not speaking a certain way, like, do we have a right to sue somebody to speak English because we want them to speak English? Like, do we have a right to sue somebody because they're not speaking Chinese because we want them to speak Chinese? And the thing is, there's people who don't want to learn English. There's people who don't want to learn Chinese for triggering reasons, perhaps. So nobody has a right to force anybody to speak the way you want them to. I mean, I would love to have people speak a certain way. I would love to have people think a certain way, but I don't have a right to force them to, much as I don't like it. And the same goes for other people. They don't get to force me to do what they want me to do. Like, law is about commercial. All law is commercial law, and as long as you haven't stolen somebody's life, liberty, and property, and that's like if you haven't, as long as you haven't, um, like affected their like slander, um, or you know, like harmed their body or their property, like there's no commercial transaction that's taken place because we're being ruled by pirates, as I understand it. And this has been going on since the beginning, I think since the inception of America, unfortunately. I know a lot of people romanticize George Washington and whatnot. And I don't know, his grave site says he's a Mason and always was a Mason. Before anything, he's a Mason. And he warned America about the Masons. So I don't know. I mean, who knows? Maybe he didn't do his gravestone, but you know, the only good person is Almighty God, and that is Lord Jesus Christ. And that's all I know who is trustworthy. But in the meantime, we're in this decline of civilization, of humanity, and the earth itself. I know a lot of people hate humans. It's very clear. A lot of people are misanthropic. They'll save pets, they'll save wild animals, but they'll totally let humans, the homeless in their neighborhood, or the struggling, financially struggling people in their lives, they'll let them starve, even their own children. But they're going to take care of their dog, better than they take care of the children. And this is a cliche. This is a thing that happens. Um, so it's clear that there's been this engineered misanthropy, and people love their cat or their dog or whatever more than they love their family. They're going to spend more money on an animal than they will on their loved one, on their so-called loved one, on their dependents. And this is acceptable. And this is there's money to be made off of this. And people are fools. You are a fool if you love your dog more than your wife or your husband, if you love your cat or your horse or your fish or your bird more than you love your wife or your husband. And the thing is, animals are easier to love because they don't they don't generate the same relational challenges that other human people do. And the thing is, if you want to be emotionally stunted, sure, have your primary relationship be with a pet. Okay, but you have failed as a human being. And when you meet God, because you're not going to meet Jesus, you're probably not you don't you probably hate Jesus, right? You probably hate the Bible. So when you meet God because you're on your way to hell, God's going to be like, "What's up with that? Why couldn't you relate to a human being? I mean, I'm not sure if that's what God is going to say, but um, and I'm not saying just marry anybody or whatever, but I think people devote more like energy to to other things than what they really should in America. And it's part of this whole materiality thing. And I just wonder, I don't know, like, am I wrong? I mean, are people in poorer countries, do they actually have stunted emotional relationships? Are they not really? I mean, from what I gather is because when everybody is struggling, there's more like people, they have to rely on each other more. But I could be wrong. I mean, I know, I mean, I've seen movies about other countries and the horrible child human trafficking that goes on. So, maybe this is an idealized Western notion that there's more real human relations, human connection, human emotional intelligence in when people are living in privation. Maybe I'm wrong about that. Maybe I don't know. But um, I just, in my personal experience, I would say, and since this liberal left communism has been in power, people have become dehumanized, and that is something I think is what communism creates. It makes you less human. It makes you more. It just brings out the worst in people. I really think. Um, I have never met a communist that was a nice person, a likable person. It's all about control and emotional abuse as a way of life. And 1984 is a horrific movie, a horrific book, but um, that's not the whole picture. Brave New World is also horrific, but there's a pathos that's not in that book. Even though that book has a lot of pathos, there's only so much you can put in a book to deliver the moment. But there's so much more when you're a human being interacting with another human being and having to live with the emotional abuse that is the communist mindset. And the communist mindset is satanic. But it's not solely satanic. There's some other element of communism, like Satanism, God is real. But with communism, it hides God and it hides Satan. And so it makes you feel inferior as a human being. But when you're dealing with Satan, oh, okay, this guy's against God, and God is the creator, so this guy's in trouble, and well, it's the end for him. But when you still don't know anything about God or Jesus, and you're stuck, you're trapped in this communist inferiority mind complex. It's really horrible, and uh, and that's where we are, and it's going to get worse. And it seems like people are just happy. They're like, yeah, okay, whatever, whatever. So what if my children? All right. So what if my grandchildren? So what if I have to go through this? So I don't know. What do you guys think? Thanks for watching. God bless.